Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. I'm going to talk a little bit about Eileen Fisher, and before I do that, I want to share some bad news, set a little context about the apparel industry and about the planet. Earlier this year, the magazine Fast Company told us that the apparel industry is slowing down on sustainability. We've been working at this as an industry for about 2 decades, really hard at it for about 2 decades, but the industry is growing faster than our sustainability work can have impact, and that's not good. We also just learned last month that climate change is happening much faster than we actually realized. It's happening so fast that some of the biggest cities in the world are in serious danger from the sea level rise that's predicted over the next 30 years. So you can see on this map, New York, Shanghai, Jakarta, Mumbai, and many others that aren't on the map that are smaller. All the coastal cities are very much in danger from sea level rise. So climate change is affecting all of us, as if you didn't know that already. What this means is that we have to shift away from simply minimizing our impact to having a net positive impact. Actually, something that Mr. Kim just shared about the possibility of composting the natural dye sludge was very interesting to me, because that's a net positive impact. It's actually feeding the earth or feeding the fish if it goes into the water. We have to shift away from simply doing less harm, which is really where we all are right now. All we're trying to do is do less bad, but we have to think about how can we maximize our environmental and social benefit. We have to move away from doing business as usual towards what we call at Eileen Fisher, business as a movement. And that means doing everything we can to have a positive environmental and social impact. Can anybody tell me who this person is? Eileen Fisher, yes. That was a hard question, right? So Eileen is, for me, an iconic leader. She founded our company 35 years ago, so a whole generation ago, back before most of us were thinking about sustainability. So when she founded the company, she founded it based on 3 simple ideas: simple design, natural fibers, and timeless shapes. So that means that things will last a long time because they don't go out of style, and they're made out of natural fibers. So 35 years ago, that seemed like a good idea. But our thinking has evolved quite a lot since then. By the way, I should mention, for those of you who are not familiar with Eileen Fisher, we are a New York-based women's clothing company. We have a long commitment to women. We have 60 of our own stores, and we're carried in about 800 department stores, mostly in the US, Canada, and the United Kingdom. So 35 years ago, our vision was pretty simple, and today we have a bolder vision. So we call that vision, Vision 2020. We're really close to 2020, so we're pretty soon going to be updating this vision. But at the time when we created this vision, which was about 6 years ago, we felt like this statement, where social and environmental injustices are not unfortunate outcomes, but reasons to do things differently. 6 years ago, we saw this as our new leading edge, our new competitive edge as a brand. We decided to set some bold goals in 8 buckets, we call them buckets, 4 on the social side and 4 on the environmental side. Now, the environmental ones are fairly straightforward. We have materials, so for us that means, are the materials organic? Are they recycled? Are they traceable? For chemistry, we aspire to have as many of our fabrics dyed with blue sign chemistry as possible. Blue sign is, for us, the gold standard of chemistry available for the textile industry. Carbon, I think, speaks for itself to have the lowest carbon footprint possible for ourselves as well as our supply chain. And water. Not only do we want to leave this planet with the cleanest water possible, but to also reduce the overall amount of water that we're using. And then on the social side, conscious business practices was really recognizing that we cannot ask any of our suppliers to do anything until we ourselves have made it possible for them to do whatever we're asking. For example, if we're asking our suppliers to increase their wages, lower their working hours to a reasonable number of hours a week, we have to recognize that the way we're giving them the orders and how many changes we're making and how many other inputs are coming to them, for example, the labels, the hang tags, are they all coming on time? All of that has to be in place for our suppliers to be able to do the right thing. We take a serious look at fair wages and benefits, worker voice, and worker and community happiness. Are workers in charge of their own future, their own destiny? So just a quick look at how we've done. So as of the end of 2018, which are the latest figures that I have, we only, based on our own calculations, only 17% of our product is made in a socially responsible factory. So it's not a good number. This just tells us how hard this work is. We realize that not all of our factories pay a living wage, not all of the people who work in our factories have agency, have a voice. Not all of our factories are certified to either SA 8000 or Fair Trade, which are the two standards that we ask them to follow. On the other hand, we're doing okay around living wage. We need to work a little bit more to get a little higher. And 84% of our workers are covered by collective bargaining agreements. These are just some of the data that we collect among many data points. On the environmental side, nearly 70% of our product is made with what we call eco-preferred materials. That means the fibers were grown organically, or they were recycled, and they were dyed with blue sign chemistry. 16% of our products were blue sign certified, and 54% of our wool was sourced from responsible or recycled sources as of the end of 2018, and I'll have a little more on that in a minute. Something else we did was we decided to become a certified B Corporation. I don't know how popular that movement is here in Korea, but it is taking hold around the world. There are over 40 countries who have certified B corporations, and that simply means that we were certified by an outside agency to verify that our business does operate according to high governance, environmental, and social standards. We took that commitment one step further, and we call ourselves a quadruple bottom line company. That means we measure our success based not just on how much money we make, but also on the environmental impact of our product and the social well-being of the people in our supply chain, as well as the well-being of the people in our company. So 4 bottom lines. Last year, Eileen made this statement at our company meeting. We have a huge opportunity to create a really powerful brand between our great design work, our sustainability work, and our women's work. It's just a matter of how we weave it all together. So what this recognized was, we have a long tradition now in sustainability, a long tradition in design, and a long tradition related to women. What can we do to deepen our impact? So the first thing we did, this is something brand new this year, is we decided to create a new grant program that we call Supporting Women in Environmental Justice. And what this did is it recognized that women on this planet are the most vulnerable segment of the population in terms of climate change. And women often are the key decision makers when it comes to finding solutions for their communities, their families, and the planet. So, our new grant program takes all of those qualities, women as decision makers, women in the sustainable economy, and training women in climate mitigation and advocacy. And we're now, actually, just this week, we made a decision on our first round of grantees to receive philanthropic funds to support their work in these areas. What we want to do is take these principles and integrate them into the rest of our company. How do these principles show up in our supply chain, in our purchasing policies, in our own work environments? That's the next step. We also made a commitment to responsible wool. And this means that we're sourcing from farmers who have high standards for animal welfare, who have very strong practices for land management, and who are fully traceable. And we're taking this commitment one step further, and we're now sourcing regenerative wool. 75% of our wool as of this year can be called regenerative, and we're the largest purchaser of regenerative wool in the industry. And what that means is the wool that we source actually contributes to better soil and water health, which is that idea of going beyond doing less bad, but having positive net impact. Something else that we're known for is, in fact, this is our 10th anniversary. In 2009, we began to ask our customers to bring their old Eileen Fisher clothes back. We thought it was a crazy idea. We weren't sure anybody would like it. But in fact, it's been highly popular. To date, 10 years later, we've now collected 1.3 million garments, only Eileen Fisher garments. And our goal is to keep those garments in use as long as possible before we do something different to them. Half of what we take back is in perfect condition because we've made those things with timeless styling, right? Things that don't go out of fashion. And the quality of the materials is quite strong. So 50% of the clothes we take back, we can clean and resell. And the other 50%, maybe half of that, it has some slight damages, so we sell it at a major discount. And the other half, the 25% left, is not usable. So we cut it up and we put it through a process that we call Waste No More. We felt it. We put it through very special felting machines, and we create extraordinary upholstery weight fabric from which we create beautiful wall hangings, pillows, upholstery covering. We have partnerships with some furniture stores now. We're creating a new business model out of our old post-consumer textile waste. So this is the next frontier for us as a company. So I'm going to end with our simple truths. Eileen is a pioneer. She was 35 years ago, and she is today. Design is simple, fabric is central. Sustainability is woven in, and women are at the heart of all we do. So thank you very much.